Hypnosis, for results you can't imagine yet.
Okay, so this video is going to be all about visualization. And visualization is one of the most powerful and fundamental personal development tools that you have at your disposal at all times. And if you do it correctly, like I'm about to go through in this video, you're really capable of overhauling your life in any way you desire for the better. Whether that's creating entirely new emotional responses, or entirely new patterns of behavior, or if you just want to change the way you act in a certain situation, visualization is one of the most powerful ways to do that. And I think that's why it's used so often in coaching, or in hypnosis, or in NLP. And the way you have to think about it is like it's a simulator in your mind. Now, if you were a jet fighter pilot in training, you wouldn't just hop in the jet without knowing what you're doing and expect to fly. That's why they build these giant simulators, so you can test all the different maneuvers in an area of safety. Now, visualization is the same thing in your mind for whatever you want to change in your life. So think of it as a way to really communicate a message to your subconscious mind. And when you do it properly, or when you do it immersively, it's like taking an idea and planting it in a rich soil within your subconscious mind, which will allow this new pattern to grow. And if you repeat it, it's like watering that seed until it becomes something that you've conditioned. It becomes something of a default response. And you'll wholeheartedly believe that you can do that or respond in that way. And then when it comes time for it to happen, then you'll know it when you do it. So I want to just say that a lot of people get freaked out or worried that they can't visualize because they think that they have to picture everything perfectly. And visualization should be more seen as the idea of getting a sense of something, or imagining something, or getting a thought experiment going, or like Walt Disney called it, Imagineering, which is something that I really like, because you like sort of consciously constructed an idea and you're engineering it in your mind with the imagination. I really like that concept. So maybe 20%, maybe it's slight give or take, of people on this planet are visual, and they're thinking pictures, and they're really able to get clear on what they see in their mind. But other people are auditory or kinesthetic, meaning that they represent the world outside of them internally, not through pictures, but through sounds or through feelings. And it really doesn't matter how you represent the world outside of you internally. What matters is that the message gets through, that the representation is there. So we call these different modalities, the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic, just different representations of the world. And as you get good at visualizing, you'll experience what's your dominant modality, or maybe you already know. And as you practice, you'll get good at adding the other modalities in. And the most important thing to keep in mind when you actually visualize is that it doesn't matter how the idea gets communicated to the subconscious mind, it's that the message gets through. Like if I wanted to deliver this message that I have to you right now, obviously I can do it like I'm doing in this video, which is to me preferred for what I'm doing. But I could also write an article, I could write it down in an email and send it to you, I could just record the voice. It really doesn't matter as long as you understand the message. So your dominant modality or way of representing the world, think of that like the skeleton. And all the other ones, as you are able to make it more immersive, flesh out that skeleton. Or like my good friend who's a long-time hypnotist likes to say, Your dominant modality, just having the sense of the idea that you want to have, is like the outlines in a coloring book. And then you can add in all the different modalities to color in, that drawing. And what's most important is having the idea. And then you can add in all the other things. Because the more vivid and real and immersive you can make your imagination or your idea or your thought experiment, the more the subconscious mind will respond and in turn think of that as of how you're going to be or how you're going to feel. It's going to make that real. Remember, the subconscious mind can't tell the difference between something that's vividly imagined or real. It just responds in the same kind of way. It's up to you to consciously make that distinction. So, as you're consciously imagineering, you're basically telling your subconscious mind, hey, this is how I want to be. And now there's a law that goes along with this. It's called the law of compounding. So you can visualize one behavior once, and it might be okay, but it's still pretty weak. You really have to repeat it over and over again. And the rule of thumb is that when you finally get so bored that you don't want to visualize that emotion or behavior again, do it 10 more times to know you've got it, to really plant that seed deep in your subconscious mind. So let's give you a few tools or guidelines on how to do this, okay? The best visualizations work when you're relaxed and you're focused and you're not distracted. Okay, self-hypnosis, if you know how to do it, is even better. It just creates the field for you to do this in. But the key is to do it when you're relaxed, when you can concentrate, and to imagine what it is you want like you've already got it, like it's in the first person. And that may be difficult at first, so what I teach people is to first imagine that you're seeing a movie of yourself and how you want to be, and you can see it from outside and see it's like you're watching yourself do that thing that you want to visualize, and you see it going successfully. You might see the other people there, you can see the expression on your face, you might get a sense of how you're feeling, you might hear the different responses, and you can begin to flesh it out like that. And you can repeat that a few times. And at one point, you really just got to step into it. And be that person, be that new you, and really focus on the emotions you would be experiencing, and what you would be seeing, and what you would be hearing, and begin to flesh it out in this way. So that you're really conditioning your mind to already know what it's like to be that way. So that when it actually happens, well, there's no surprises there. You can just go ahead and do it because you've already thought about your own responses, and you know what that's going to feel like. You have an idea of how other people might respond. You have an idea of what happens. So it takes out all the fear and the worry and the anxiety and replaces it with that calm confidence of being cool, calm, and collected. And, like I said, you can do this in any situation you want. One example that I can give is someone with social anxiety, for example. And they might be really nervous and get all kinds of funky sensations when they're around people. Their mind goes blank, they're sweating, they might be shaking. Someone who's really, really bad with people. Well, they can sit down and relax and close their eyes and begin to get a sense of what it would be like to feel perfect relaxation like they are right now, and carry on that relaxation when they're around a second person or a third person or a group of people, and just imagine integrating, maybe saying something, and realizing that all those other negative thoughts that usually go through their mind, that they can just let them go They're like bubbles that are floating out of them and popping in the sky. And they can really begin to think about what are really the thoughts that they want going on. Or maybe none at all. Maybe they just want to be in the moment, enjoying that. Okay, so that's a pretty good visualization right there. And then if you repeat that over and over again, then you can really condition that as a default response. And then go ahead and test it and be around people and see what your new responses is like. And it might not be 100% perfect. We don't expect someone who's deeply, deeply socially anxious to go around and be the most extroverted, charismatic person. But if they're able to function around people and contribute to the group and be relaxed, that is a success. So let's recap real quickly what we just went through, okay? Visualization is like a simulator for behaviors and emotions and different patterns in your mind, okay? Everybody has different ways to visualize. You can represent the world visually, auditorily, kinesthetically. It really doesn't matter. What matters is the overall idea you want to communicate and condition into the subconscious mind and have that dialogue going. Okay, once you've got a sort of skeleton, then you can add in the others and you will become better at it as you practice. The key to successful visualization is to make it immersive, which means just stepping into it in the first person and really putting yourself in the situation and making it as real for yourself as possible and making sure your responses are as you want them to be. Okay, once you've got that, you want to repeat it over and over again and compound that visualization on each other so you know you've got it. Okay, once you're so bored of it, do it 10 more times. And then when you're done, then you can go out and test it, know it, and live your life in that way and go to the next step. Okay, so that's visualization in a nutshell. I want to say if you go to my website, hypnosis.com, there's plenty of different articles on there on how to use this technique. I'm putting out a lot of stuff on self-hypnosis as well, so you can go there and use self-hypnosis in combination with visualization to really make these results that you want explosive. Okay, so go check that out on hypnosis.com.
Hypnosis, for results you can't imagine yet.